Truckin Chubbzy Sports, where we back in our yapping. We ain't never capping. That's a factor. So what's happening?
Not a coach, not a pro, no X's, no O's, just the fans' point of view and what we know. Let's go.
Hey. Y'all know y'all like that. Hit that like, bruh. Y'all know y'all like that. Subscribe, Jack. Y'all know y'all like that. Go ahead and share that. Y'all know. Let's go. Hey, what up, y'all? Hit that like and subscribe button one time for the boy Truckin Chubbzy, man. Y'all know that. Gotta change it up. I gotta bring my energy out, man. I gotta bring myself out, man, up out here. And y'all digging it. I know it. Shout out to my son for them instrumentals, man. Music mind. He is. Telling y'all, man. Incline me up. I can put y'all down with the young man. CJ made it on the beat. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my other boys, man. I'm proud of all my boys, proud of my baby girls. I am, man. Straight up, man, up out here, man. Salute to everybody up out here watching the channel right now, man. Me, myself, right, with Colorado, man. Kansas State is going up to Folsom Field to take on Colorado. Me, myself, with Colorado. I got to put this out there for everybody. Huge Deion Sanders fan, by the way. Always had been since I was a kid, man. I remember I just had moved to Atlanta, Georgia with my dad, right? Things was going on, Mom. I'm getting at that age where I'm getting a little bit out of hand. She like, you going down there in Georgia with your daddy. I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, I'm going over 1,000 miles away. Pittsburgh, PA to Atlanta, GA. Was down there in like the Scottsdale area. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. And go down there. I'm with my dad. And my dad went to go take me shoe shopping. And I'm like, Dad, I want those Deion. Now, I knew my dad told me before we went in the store, son, I'm working these 2 jobs. You got a certain amount of money to get in there. I wanted those diamond turfs so bad that I had. Now, listen, I didn't. He told me you can get 2 pairs of shoes for the price of this one shoe. But I said, nah, I said, Dad, I want those diamond turfs. He said, yo, you mess them up, they on you. I can't get you another pair for a minute. Man, if I tell you what, bruh, them diamond turfs, I wore them with every single color that I had. They didn't match. I played in them. I had messed them up one time. I was after school and I forgot I had left my key inside the house, right? And I'm mad. And so I had to wait outside. So I decided to play. Everybody playing, and I would not play in these shoes for nothing because I knew it was the one pair of shoes that I had to keep up. My school shoe, my play shoes is inside. I done left my key in there. Got to wait for my dad like 15 more minutes. Why did I go playing them? Crushed them, right? And the red dirt down there, I was so mad, bro. I was so mad, bro. Dad gave it to me, right? But if I didn't go in that bathroom and get that toothbrush, bro, and every cleaning supply we had and get those shoes right, bro, I took care of them like they was nothing else, bro. I mean, I had those shoes for so long. I actually remember my dad going to go get me a couple other pair of shoes because of how good that I took care of those shoes, man. And the moral was like, it there's really no moral, just a story about it and how much I really wanted to imitate and be like Deion. That was the first pair of shoes that I took care of. So that taught me that I can actually, take care of my shoes and the responsibility of it. So if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for Deion, I never would have took care of my shoes, never would have started cleaning them. And I know that that's not big to a lot of people out there, but to me, it meant a lot. and it always stuck with me for life, right? So I always been taking care of my kicks because those were the first ones that I had to take care of, right? Now, and I got on X, right? And I know y'all is story, and I'm gonna get into the game and everything else. Just roll with me. I was on X and I had wrote Deion, and I told Deion on X and I tagged him and I said, I understand what you're going through out here, and I didn't understand how much hate you had out here, and me myself, I can't do that, right? And then some things happened, and I said some things to him. Now, I know my word may not mean much to Deion at this point, but my actions and how I present myself from this day forward is how I could show my appreciation to not only my childhood hero, not only to redeem myself as a man and what I did out here. And a lot of people ain't gonna get out here and do this because they not real like me. But I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna put the glasses on too, while I tell you. So I can make sure I'm seeing what I'm saying, right? But I am going to start doing better. I'm gonna keep it real with doing what I do, but when it comes down to this, it hurt me. Going down the tubes of the season of where it was, getting caught up in all the media and the things that people was not telling me. So I decided to say, when there's something that's going on, I'm going to speak on that, and I'm going to be critiquing that because I do want them to be successful. But at the same time, I'm not going to get caught up in the hype so much that my mind is shifting away from what I'm seeing. So I have to see the results, speak on things, but there is a way that I could critique, right? And I'm learning that out here. And it don't mean much to y'all what I'm saying, but for some reason, I feel like it may reach Deion, and I gotta show better and do better. We all do. But anyway, I'm still gonna be trucking though. I'm still gonna do trucking shit. I'm still gonna say trucking things and everything else. That it is what it is. But I'm gonna do better. All right. Now, with that being said and getting that out the way, I held some people accountable out there. I held some people accountable out there for certain things that they was telling the fan base. There ain't nothing wrong with telling the fan base and keeping it positive. There's a way to critique and also way to keep it positive in a matter of people's not, but there's no way to me in football. This is kind of what's wrong with us in football. Football is not a coddled sport. It just isn't. It just isn't, man. It's not a sport where you coddle. It's like, all right, you all right, you calm down and then you just move on. But it's not something that you coddle. It's not feelings that you bundle. It's a game to where you release every emotion that you have running through you. It is a barbaric sport. Like it kind of kills me that some people actually want there to be some kind of rainbow in this situation and flowers and everything else, because it bothers me, y'all. It really does. Because if we back in the medieval times and we got two people on horses with them big long metal sticks going towards each other, they just galloping towards each other with them big sticks, and somebody getting cracked with that joint and they falling off. Is there some kind of way of going up to that person and coddling that person and telling that person it's okay? I don't know, man. I'm just saying. That's all. But this game here, where and they have been proving me wrong, and I ain't got no problem with coming out here doing that. But being a person in the way that I am and the way that I was raised, I feel like if I almost don't come out here and keep it a buck, then something ain't gonna go right. And so I gotta keep the same energy, and I gotta be on that way. And if I gotta be the villain in this situation, then that just is what it is. But just know that I want them to be successful, right? So just know that. So, but if I got to keep doing what I've been doing in order for them, I will take that sacrifice. That's just how much I want them to win. You dig? You know what I'm saying? All right. So But in this game, y'all, anyway, this rival game with Kansas State and CU, y'all, it goes all the way back to November 16th, 1912. In a cold November hardcore game, Kansas State pulls it off 14-6. The last time that CU had, the last time they played was in 2010. November 20th, 2010, Colorado beat Kansas State 44-36. They have 66 total meetings in this rivalry game. That's right, 66 of them. Colorado leads this series 45-20, only tied them one time. The longest streak of winning in this series is Colorado, 10 wins from 1954 to 1963. Colorado runs this rivalry. Kansas State knows that. But this rivalry goes so back deep into almost the roots of your university, of your respected university, of the university where you walk, where you go to class, where it goes so far back to where they didn't even have book bags then. They just had their backs, they books wrapped in a string and was carrying them like that. You dig? Like, that's how far this rivalry go back. You feel me? So you gotta bring it. And from what I'm hearing from this Colorado team is that they have been improving every week. First week, North Dakota State come out, they win. Boom. Get smacked by Nebraska. And it's crazy. But if this game was to happen this week, do you think Nebraska still wins that game? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. But what I do know, and I got to say, is that Colorado has been improving. And I got to give props to the staff, because this coaching staff has been doing their job. And I want to give a special, and I really want to really give it up for the defense side of the ball. And I ain't talking the say, no, Robert Livingston is doing good with the safeties, but with the defensive line, Damian Lewis, Warren Sapp, what they're doing with them defensive linemen is crazy. Then you got Coach Dancy over there with the DNs, and now Coach Hart with the linebackers. All of those guys have to be on one accord. See, that's what some people don't say, right? All those guys got to come together, and they all got to be on. They all got to think the same. They all got to get their guys to do what Robert Livingston wants to get done. Robert Livingston draws up the defensive plays, the schemes. He puts it in place, and then he goes to Coach Dancy, and he got to tell Coach Dancy, I need the DNs to be able to do this in these type of plays on this type of situation when they see this formation out there. He does the same thing with Warren Sapp and with Damian Lewis. I need the defensive lineman to crash right, crash left. I need them to be able to do a TNT on this play. And then Robert Livingston also got to be on one accord with Coach Hart. Coach Hart got to be on it with Livingston. They all have to come together, and they got to do it. And in this short amount of time that they had to get this done, it has impressed me. I can't lie. I'm not going to get out here and lie and say it has not impressed, because it has. It just has. So them coming together and them doing it what they're doing it's great. You got to give it up for it, right? Because Colorado's defense, whether it's PFF or not, their defense is up there. We just checked the stat last night to where they're averaging 33 yards per kickoff return. Jimmy Horn getting ready to take one of those back. Or LaJonte, who's going to be first? Which one? Who do y'all think going to be the first one to take a kickoff back? Is it going to be LaJonte, or is it going to be Horn? I got Horn taking one back to the crib. He always getting there real close. But that was just a sidebar real quick. Anyhow, back to this defense of Colorado. The defense has been playing outstanding since Shedeur has been out. We just learned in a conference that Shiloh and Cam will be the starting safeties. And I did say that, right? I did say Shiloh and Cam, and this is my reason. And he also did say that Carter Stoutmeyer will be in on certain packages, right? So certain packages. Now this is what I was saying, right? This is exactly what I said, and people say, "Oh, are you tripping, Truck?" But listen, now this my listen. Carter Stoutmeyer was only like it seemed like on the passes that he was getting in places late. Shiloh sees that a little bit better now, and vice versa. Cam sees that a little bit better. Those two see it a little bit better than what Carter Stoutmeyer sees it, but he'll be able to see and learn and watch from those guys, right? He'll be able to learn exactly why am I reacting late to this and why he'll know. But we will see that difference. I don't believe that we will see a bunch of those slot fades not being picked up by those safeties when you got Cam and Shiloh back there. I don't think we see a lot of that. I think some of that may be even picked. I'm just saying they pick up on tendencies a little bit better than Carter Stoutmeyer is a hell of a football player, and he sees it and he reacts to it. And it's like these guys know they just got that little bit more of experience and veteranship to the game, and we'll see that. And then y'all be like, okay, now I see where Truckin was going with it. But no different now on those passing downs. We need somebody that could cover. I know I might have been a little bit off saying that Shiloh could be whatever. I say things just like everybody else do, but Shiloh may even now in a package to where Stoutmeyer comes in. What do you put Shiloh in a box or Cam in a box? Either one of them is going to do great in a box. Either one of them is going to do great in a box. Who do you leave back? It don't matter. It does not matter, right? Because all three of those guys can do it. Now, I think that Carter can probably play a little bit better on that side, but we'll see. As far as the passing goes, Carter, he just got to get that experience up. He got to get that experience up, y'all. And he will, because he got two good people to look at and learn from, and he has more time to develop. He will be a problem. He's good now, so we know he's gonna be a problem, right? So it will probably happen. Will we see Shiloh in there like an extra linebacker? Now I know I went out on a limb and I said that he could play linebacker or in the pros, or could he put on the weight? Would he be a good linebacker? But we're probably going to see him in the box acting as if another linebacker in this game, because Kansas State blocking schemes, they run some of the most complicated blocking schemes in the Big 12. And that's largely why they had a very successful running game. They changed their blocking schemes a lot and throughout the game. And it may not seem that effective, but this defense was able to handle that. And now that I'm learning more than just the statistical side of the football game, and I'm learning how to identify certain things upon film and looking at film the different way, it's almost like when you're watching a game, you see it different than what you used to watch it. You just hope it was a good play. But now you actually can see a play developing because you see what's going on during that play, right? And it's crazy. It does change your game experience. I ain't gonna lie. It just does. Anyhow, but they run some of the most they run a lot of different schemes to just a simple double team, to your traps, to your pulls, to your whams, to your inside zones. They run a lot of different blocking schemes. Kansas State do, and they're one of the best at doing it. And it's going to be a task for this defense. And I know last week UCF, Gus Malzahn, they run schemes too, but they run it fast. Kansas State, they do it upon what you're showing them on defense. So I think we're going to see some shifts, some changes upon Colorado, some things on this defense this week to where we're not used to, like, why are they doing this? And I think that's to try to give them a look, because that's what Kansas State does. They see a look, they go into a scheme. And largely, your look gives the offense the offensive scheme to block against. So if you can't give them, if you're giving them that look, Now they thinking their scheme, now their scheme changes. That's why it's so hard to play the offensive lineman. And I'm starting to understand that more and how hard it actually is to be an offensive lineman. It's not easy at all. It is not easy. It's not. And the more that I learned, it's like, wow, that gotta be hands down one of the toughest positions to play on the field when you're talking as much as a cerebral position. It is much as cerebral as everywhere else as you're learning, right? Now they have a pro mindset over there at Colorado. You're seeing that coming together. I thought the portal might have did some things, but the portal has proven to be right and it's proven to be wrong in some cases, in some places. But the culture is there in Colorado. So therefore, the portal has helped. Regardless of how many they went there and they got, it has helped that team. Now, some players are not close to being at 100%. We know that. But the bye week may have helped. Dallin Hayden, Chidozie Nwankwo, a lot of those guys getting arrested and other guys that we may not heard about. This is a barbaric game. People are going to get banged up. And the only way that Kansas can even remotely even get close to Colorado to get they had to attack Colorado with their various blocking schemes, but they're already practicing against that, and they know that. See, if people that know football, they understand where I'm getting at. Like they're gonna attack them with the totally different ones. They're gonna get that Avery Johnson out in the space. You gotta account for Avery Johnson every single play, which is why I think that instead of going with another faster linebacker, they're gonna keep Hill Green out there, Levante Bentley out there with that size, because DJ Giddings, you got to have that size out there with Giddings, but then you got to bring in a Carter Stoudemire, a Cam Solomon Craig, Shiloh Sanders, one of those guys that act as a extra linebacker that's faster in the 4-2-5 that they run to keep and account for Avery Johnson at all times. He seems like he run a 4-3. But you know for sure he's a true 4-4 without a doubt. Without a doubt, he's a true 4-4. So you got to have somebody there, and I think that's and that I strongly believe that that's something that we're gonna see, and why they're practicing up and against that. And we heard Chidozie talking about how important it is to be on your alignment, assignment, and your technique, making sure that whatever technique you're in, that you're staying true to that you do not get moved off of that spot, because it's important for that to happen. Because you get, like I said, in certain blocking schemes, you're going to see the offensive linemen want to chip, and they're going to try to get to the next level. Now it's Chidozie Nwankwo, Ryan Buell, Shane Coates, BJ Green, Deion Hayes, Sam Okunolu, all those guys' jobs to stay within their technique, contain that technique, stay true to it, so that those linebackers can get a clean read. Now, if they break through on a one-on-one and cause havoc in the backfield, that's cool. But this game, they're going to have to stay true to that. And if you do see a big play, I can almost guarantee you, if we see a big play from Kansas, one of those guys went rogue after assignment in their alignment upon that defense, and therefore it caused a big play. But it sounds like this team has bought in to what's going on, and you got to buy in. Now, the Baylor game, whether they lost or won that game, that showed me a lot about Colorado coming back, the will that they had, regardless. But they wind up winning that game, which is huge. Them beating up on UCF the way that they did was totally exposing UCF, but also showed the toughness of Colorado. Now, in this game, it's just going to be both toughness, cerebral. It's everything. You got to put a total game together versus this Kansas State team. And the same difference for Kansas State. They got to put together a total game for this Colorado team. Because if not on defense for Kansas State, if they're not on their job, they're going to get ripped through like crazy. They're going to get ripped through like crazy. Because if you got now on the Colorado side, you got Dallin Hayden, Isaiah Augusta, Michael Welch. They all been running the ball well. Now we know Kansas State is pretty good with stopping this run. They're okay. They're a sound, disciplined defense. The running game has to keep going. Rather you getting 2 or 3 because you got it. You got to show the run. You have to this game. But once they get sucked into that, it's going to open up for other things going on. Attack them with the tight end, and go at them, and go at them, because you got the receivers and the weapons to do it. Like, and that's why I don't really have to speak too much on the offense of Colorado, because the things we expect from that offense, besides running in our offensive line, and the reason why the offensive line has been struggling, in my opinion, is because of them being new together. They gotta be on that me, you game this week like none other. They have to have that down pat. They have to be pointing out and communicating their men so well this game, because they have simple blocking schemes. That is the only thing with an offensive line as new as Colorado's, and how they just got together. You have to simplify their blocking schemes. That is the only negative and the only thing that's worrying a lot of Colorado fans, and the way people want Colorado to win. If you really know the team, right? It's the only thing. Just got simple blocking schemes, the double teams, your trap, your pull. Got us to keep it simple, right? Because they're new. Because if you see a certain formation, then what happens? You know what I'm saying? If you see a certain formation and they do a twist and a stunt, you got to be able to get that. You got to be able to know what person you need to go to and slide to next. And the newness of that, it can be a problem there. But they've been doing great with that. The last group that was out there versus UCF, I think did a decent job at that. I would have to say they did a good job at doing that, because that's not easy. That's not easy for somebody that you only been playing with in game experience, 4 games. Yeah, I've been with him all summer, but now we're going against competition. And now, 4 games, 5 games into the season, I'm playing with somebody and we're able to communicate. You got this guy. He's sliding off me here. Let me give him a push. You got him now. Bring him to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it is with that. But I would say that both teams in this matchup both have the talent to win the game. Colorado has the talent to win this game Colorado's way. Passing the ball, I think that may work, but you don't want to get one-dimensional, because you want to ease up on the offensive line and get that offensive line of yours going. Because, like I've been saying, and I'm going to stand on that, if you got to say they have one strength, run blocking is their strength. So let them eat. Let them eat that way. Confuse that. Make the defensive lineman ease up a little bit. Give Shedeur more time to make a play. Open up some scissors out there with them receivers. I don't care what that is. The scissor is just what it is, y'all. Scissors. When you hold scissors, they cross at the bottom. They cross at some point. At some point, they cross, right? And that's all scissors is. It could be a simple drag this way and a slant that way. It could be a post flag. It could be anything. Just scissors. Cross them up a little bit. Open some things up. Get some different schemes running for these receivers to open up for another receiver. Because every time a receiver runs a route doesn't mean he's running that route to catch the ball. He could be running that route to open up for another receiver, is where I'm getting at. And I'm only speaking to my casual fans out there. But when it comes down to it and closing out on this game, y'all, and I'm sure I probably didn't touch on a lot of things, but we'll have a different conversation with it, is that it comes down to coaching this game. This is, to me, Chris Klieman versus Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime versus Chris Klieman. Connor Riley, Matt Wells versus Robert Livingston, Coach Hart, Dancy, Lewis Sack, Load Hope, all those guys. You know what I mean? It's coaching staff versus coaching staff this game. We're gonna that's what this game comes down to. What staff have implemented the best scheme for their team to be successful? And I know people say coaching is overrated. Talent gonna win games. But you need schemes to open up things. Just how I said with the scissor routes. That opens up for other receivers. You know what I mean? And open up. You gotta implement that in there. And I'm sure, and I think that Colorado's on its way of doing that. They've been winning pretty simple, but when you open up the field for LaJohntay and Jimmy Horn underneath, those guys can take a simple drag slant to their house. You know what I'm saying? And it also makes the defense come up. And now you got deeper routes. Travis, Will Shepard, Omarion Miller. Those guys got deeper. You know what I'm saying? You open up deeper for those kind of guys. So, man, this game is going to be good, exciting. Like I said, this rivalry go all the way back to 1912. There's a big history in this game. Big history, man. I think this is the 67th time that they'll face each other. It's up at Folsom Field. Colorado got the last victory. The biggest victory that Colorado has ever won this game is 64-3. Colorado will have to account for Avery. Like I said, they're going to be on Giddings. I think the corners for Colorado can do well with these K-State receivers. Avery going to have to take care of the ball. And I honestly believe that already going into this game that Colorado has already made Kansas State one-dimensional. Now, I know on the other hand, a lot of fans may be thinking that Kansas State has made Colorado one-dimensional. But I would say different. I would say no. I don't think so, because their running game has been picking up. It looks different because they don't just depend on one back to open things up for them. So if you're able to stop Giddings, everything else from there, you can stop. In my opinion, if they're able to stop Giddings from going off, or from even, you know what I mean, averaging his 4 yards per carry, 5 yards per carry, whatever, they're making them one-dimensional, and you're forcing Avery Johnson to win the game. And I don't think that Avery Johnson himself can beat Colorado. I don't think that can happen. But we'll see. And on the other hand, I do think that Colorado can beat them being one-dimensional, even with passing the ball, even with the offensive line being new and not being problems. But they've been protecting Shedeur, so I'm expecting this offensive line to protect Shedeur. I am. I'm expecting them to protect them. It will be a good game. And they will have to watch out for Dylan Edwards, because can't nobody on that defense catch him in an open field in the way that they scheme him open. They really do a great job at scheming Dylan Edwards open. They understand how much of a weapon he is. And believe it or not, he's going back up to Folsom after he left there. So those offensive coordinators, Conley Riley, he's also an offensive line guy. So that's why having an offensive coordinator, assistant offensive coordinator, that is offensive line guy, is why they're able to they have some very complicated blocking schemes. Then you got Matt Wells, the quarterback, and he works with the quarterbacks associate, you know what I mean, of the co-offensive coordinator. Like, you got to be able to. It's gonna be a cerebral, physical game. You got to bring your physical with you. The physical, that's out of the way. Both teams got that. They both shown that. They all shown that. Now it's cerebral. Now that's what it is. Got to think now. You got to be able to think on the field, get this job done. Because these guys are bringing it, man. These guys are definitely bringing it. And just real quick, man, just for issues and giggles, man. I guess we could take a look at some of these people, some of these guys' stats in the Big 12 to see what we got going on here. Before we get on up out of here, I like to keep it 100 with y'all and do the things that I do, right? The way that we roll. So let's go ahead and let's take a quick look at some of these college football stats and some of the players for the Big 12 and what categories they're leading in stats. Because y'all know I like stats, man. Y'all know trucking, I like stats, man. That's what I started on, even though I like to break it down in a little bit more context than what some other people do. But I still like stats, man. I do. I like them a lot. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull them up. Hopefully y'all can see them now. All right. So now I can go into them and we'll go right over to the Big 12. We won't even waste no time with doing that. So Josh Hoover, and I don't understand why Alabama's up there. Shedeur Sanders, Brendan Morton, and Shedeur Sanders at the top right now with the passing. Down you go look at K-State, Avery Johnson. He's only got 879 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and you can get to every 4 times. They only been sacked 4 times. They've been keeping them clean. So he's doing all that with Ben. He only been sacked 4 times. Shedeur's been sacked 17 times. Come on, like get to Avery Johnson. So and that what that stat is to me, it's saying get to Avery Johnson. Put the game in his hands. Shut down that running game because we know if we go to rushing, you're gonna see DJ Giddens at number 3 with 604 yards. Almost at the top. Stop him. You got a chance. Avery Johnson. You got to account for him. You know what I mean? You got to account for him. That's what I said. You got to account for Avery Johnson. Dylan Edwards got 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, that's scheme him open. I already said you got to account for Avery. This before we looked into the stats and shut down Giddens. Force Avery to beat you. That'll work. You go to receiving for the Big 12. Travis Hunter's up there at number 3. You don't see a K-State receiver until you get to number 23, which is Jace Brown with 277 yards, 1 touchdown. He's there. See Will Shepherd, 28. LaJohntay Wester, 27. See the yards they got. LaJohntay got 5 touchdowns. Will Shepherd has 1. Jimmy Horn Jr., 300 yards, 1 touchdown. Ain't really heard of him since the first game, but even still, we going to keep scrolling. Keegan Johnson, 14 receptions, 161 yards, no touchdowns. So we can go to more. We'll just go to more. We'll keep scrolling. And I ain't trying to make fun of nobody. I'm just showing y'all the tight end has 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. They like to look for that tight end in the red zone area. DJ Giddens, 91 yards, 1 touchdown. That's it. Pretty much it for them. And Jaden Jackson. So don't pass it a lot. They like to run. And they're going to look to do that first. And Colorado's been very good against the run. So I might be going out on the limit saying that, but and I know better. I what pick. You could tell I do, but I'm not going to pick until Saturday morning. Y'all got to tune in Saturday morning. They hear my pick, but still, I think that it's going to be a good rumble, man, and we in for a good one. So appreciate y'all rocking with me and listening to me for the 40 minutes. I'm out of here, man. Peace.